What's up guys, I'm Random Frank P. Today I'm going to teach you how to build a gaming PC step by step. Many people out there who don't know how to build one might think it's intimidating, but it's actually not. And hopefully this video helps you out in building your very own. Now today's video is also sponsored by Rosewill. They're competing in a quest for the best over on battlenation.com, where you can go and vote for the best PC gaming products. So using their new flagship case, the Cullinan, we're going to be building a PC, and actually you can win this very one that I'll be building for free in a giveaway. So make sure you check the description down below if you want to find out how to win it. Now let's take a closer look at the case we'll be using to familiarize ourselves with it. The Cullinan is absolutely beautiful and has all tempered glass on the left and right sides, plus the front panel. This way you can show off and put your build on display, as tempered glass makes any build 10 times nicer. There are 4 thumb screws in each corner, so you're going to want to remove those and take off the side panel for each side to begin your build. First thing you're going to want to do is unbox your motherboard. This is where most of the building is going to take place, so take it out of the anti-static wrap and place it carefully on top of the box. Before you do anything else, the motherboard will come with an I/O shield inside. Install that in the backside of your PC. This is where you're going to have access to all your motherboard's connectors. It snaps right into place and you'll feel when it is correctly installed. Now the motherboard is where your PC starts to come to life. Everything connects here. Next thing you're going to want to do is install the CPU. Inside the box is the processor itself, plus the included fan. The CPU is very fragile, so do not drop it or touch the pins on the bottom, because this could potentially ruin your entire PC. Now on your motherboard, pull the lever on the socket backward to open it up. On your processor, you'll see a little tiny arrow in the bottom left hand corner. This is going to align directly with the arrow on your motherboard as well, so you know how to properly install it in the right orientation. Gently place the CPU down, it should fall nicely into place, and then close the lever to secure it. It might feel like the lever is resisting, but that is completely normal, don't worry. Next is going to be installing the CPU cooler. On the bottom of that is some pre-installed thermal pastes. Try not to smear it or touch it. And depending if you're using a stock one that is included like the one we're using, or a different one you purchased, you should probably resort to the manual inside, as it differs for an Intel or AMD build. This stock cooler easily locks into place on the motherboard just by pressing down on the 4 sides. But by the way, if you were going the liquid cooling route, this case supports up to a 360mm radiator on top and in the front of the Cullinan. Attached to the cooler is a 4-pin fan connector, and plug that right into the CPU power located right above the processor. Moving right along is installing the RAM, and this is cake. Locate your DIMM slot on the motherboard and line up the notch in its respective orientation. Our motherboard has 4 DIMM slots, and depending on how much memory you have to install, the order is going to be different, so just follow the graphic I'm showing you now. We'll be using the 2nd and 4th DIMM slot, so firmly push the RAM down until you feel it lock securely into place. Now we're going to be actually installing the motherboard into your case. Most cases nowadays do have pre-installed motherboard standoffs, so line up your board with the standoffs inside, and this is going to differ for ITX or ATX sized motherboards. Make sure the ports are lined up with the I/O shield in the back of the case. That's always a good place to start, and use the included screws to lock it down. Make sure you don't over tighten them, as you could damage your motherboard. While we're here, your pre-installed exhaust fan should have a cable lying free. Plug that into an available fan connector on your motherboard. Ours is labeled system fan on the top right. Now our cooling fan and our case fan has some power. Before we install the graphics card, now is a good idea to finish off the motherboard's connections with your case. Along the back, your case is going to have cables that need to be plugged in. Find the HD audio and USB connectors and locate their matching spot on the bottom of the motherboard where all those little tiny pins are. This is going to give us access to the top mounted I/O ports on the Cullinan with 2 USB 3.0 and 2 USB 2.0 ports. From here, it's really just a matching game, as each pin is labeled and all you have to do is plug it into the correct spot. If you're having a tough time spotting the correct pin, resort to your motherboard's install guide, as each motherboard could be different. Now we're going to do the same thing for the big blue USB 3.0 cable that they give us, and these little tiny guys. These connect the power and reset switches, as well as the hard drive and power LED indicators for our case. Before we move on, now is a good time to connect your hard drive or SSD. Our case has mounting slots on the back side of the case for SSDs and hard drive cages on the bottom left, but since we're using an SSD, we're just going to mount it here. Your motherboard should come with a SATA cable, which will connect the SSD to your motherboard. Align the tiny L shape into place for each end and connect it to your motherboard's SATA ports, which are most likely going to be facing the right side of the board. Next is the graphics card, and this is really simple. Using a screwdriver, remove the top 2 PCIe slots on the back of your case, because that's going to give you access to the DVI, HDMI, and DisplayPort connectors for your monitor. Very similar to how we installed the RAM, locate the PCIe slot on your motherboard and align the notch in your graphics card to the build with the fans facing downward. You'll feel it easily snap into place, then just screw it back in to secure it. The Cullinan does support graphics cards up to 420mm in length, so odds are you'll be just fine with this case. Don't worry, we're almost done. Take out your power supply and locate all the cables you'll need. For the graphics card, we're going to need a 6-pin connector for this particular model that's going to plug right into the front of the card. Our motherboard needs a 20+4 power connector on the right side, and to power our CPU is going to be a 8-pin connector on the top left side of the motherboard. Last is going to be giving our SSD some power, and it's pretty much the same as our SATA cable, but much longer. Once all your hardware is connected to the power supply, secure the power supply into place. And ours nicely goes into the power supply shroud on the bottom, so it's hidden inside the Cullinan. Then you can use the included power adapter to plug it into your wall. Now we're all but done, but grab a monitor, mouse, and keyboard and see if it turns on. If it does, it'll boot right to the motherboard BIOS for you to install Windows. That means you did it all right. Good job. Last thing here is going to be cable management, and since the Cullinan is all tempered glass, you're going to want to make sure that it is looking as nice as possible. Tie down all the loose cables on the back of the case. There are many loops for cable ties or zip ties, so that's always nice. And having the power supply shroud lets us hide excess cables out of sight. Once that's done, put back on the tempered glass side panels, and you're good to go. Alright, so there you go, you just built your very own gaming PC brought to you by Rosewill. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to win the exact PC that I just built, you can enter for a chance to win it. And don't forget, go vote in the quest for the best over on battlenation.com. You can follow the link and the instructions in the description below to learn how to enter, and I'll also be posting the specs to this PC in the description as well, in case you'll be wondering what you're entering to win. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did and this video helped you out, please give it a big thumbs up to show your support. If you have any questions, you can comment down below or hit me up on Twitter at RandomFrankP. Feel free to follow me on there. And last, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Well, I'm Random Frank P. Hope you just built your very own gaming PC. Have a good day.